Now that we have enabled our module, the next thing we want to do is to create a custom page where we will be displaying our movie listing. In order to do that, the first thing we have to create is our routing file. So if you come back to your module directory, you then want to create a new file, and it should begin with the module's machine name. So in my case, mine is movie underscore directory dot routing dot YAML. Then the first thing we want to specify here is the machine name of our route. So I would call it, and by convention, root machine names should be module name dot subname. So subname could be maybe what that page is pertaining to. So for example, mine is going to be module machine name, directory dot subname. So I'd call it listing. And then you want to have a colon at the end, hit enter, and the next thing you want to set is the path. Now note that the path must begin with a leading slash, and I'm gonna call this very simple, movie listing, and then close it with a quote, hit enter again. Now this is what we call our default. This describes the page and title callbacks. So the first callback we want to set is the controller callback, and I'm going to call this, well, I can't really call it anything. We just have to specify where this route will get its page callback from. So that would be Drupal slash movie directory, the name of my module, machine name of my module rather, slash controller. Has to begin with a capital C if I can get it. There we go, controller slash the name of the class. So in my case, I'm going to call it movie listing. Keep it nice and short and simple. Now this is where you specify the method that would be returning a renderable array. Just have in mind that this method should be public. I'm going to call it view. It doesn't have to be view for you. You can call it build, you can call it content, whatever you want it to be. But for the sake of this tutorial, I'm gonna call it view, and then close it with another quote. Then the next thing we're going to set is the title of the page. So again, title underscore, colon. I'm gonna keep it simple again, movie listing page. Actually, let's remove the page. And the next thing we want to set is the permissions. So requirements, without this, we are going to get an access denied. So requirements, and then permission, need to begin with an underscore permission. And I'm going to give it the access content permission. This permission is assigned to the anonymous user role within Drupal. Cool. So now that we have created our routing file, the next thing we want to do is to create our controller class callback. So come back to your movie directory folder, and in there create a new folder, two new folders rather, source, and I'm just going to create the next one now, controller. Luckily with PHP Storm you can actually create like subfolders, just always make sure you have a slash in between, but for now this is all I need, the source and then the controller folder. Cool. So now we see the source, controller. Now we want to create our movie listing. So I'm going to copy that. So I've got there, get the class name correct, new file, movie listing.php. Let's start off by opening up our PHP tags. And the first thing we want to add to this file is the namespace. So namespace, Drupal, movie directory, controller. So the reason for the namespace is that in order to find this particular class, the autoloader knows it needs to come within the movie directory folder, then the controller, then movie listing. Without that, it might not know where to go, because we could have other classes that also begin with movie listing. The next thing we want to specify is actually the class name. So movie listing, remember this has to match what we have in our routing file. And then we want to then extend the controller base. So from there, the next thing we want to do is, remember we had a method here. This is the method that returns the renderable array. So the first thing, let's create our method. So public, again, remember it has to be a public function, a public method, function view. Now we need to return a renderable array. So let's create our array. Just for teaching purposes, I'm going to create a very quick and a simple renderable array. So I'm going to set the type of this renderable array to be markup, and then the markup itself is going to be a random piece of string. So this will be a good opportunity to show you how to use the translator function within Drupal. So that's this pointing to T. This is actually coming from the controller base, and it's inherited from the controller base, rather I should say. And we want to give it a random string. Let's say this is going to list movies. Cool. So we created our public method, which returns a renderable array. Now, although we've created our controller class, we've specified the routing, it will not work if we try to access it. So if we do movie-listing, we should get a page not found. The reason for this is because although we specified this, Drupal has to clear its caches first. So if we come back to our IDE, and in your terminal, clear caches, so Josh CR. If you don't have Drush installed on your machine, I recommend you viewing the Drush tutorial I created a while back, or you could just clear caches through here. So flush caches. And there we have it. Movie listing. This is going to list movies. So this is coming from our controller class.